What to expect after you enter the United States on a K-1 visa. That's what we're talking about on today's episode of Sumner School Family Immigration Basics. My name is Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law. Congratulations! Once your K-1 visa is approved, that is huge. I know it is anxiety provoking and stressful and quite the journey to go to the US consulate and to successfully have a visa approved. So what can you expect next once you have that visa in hand? First thing is you should look at the visa to make sure that everything on the visa is correct. The spelling of your name, your date of birth, the K-1 visa classification is the correct one and not some other visa classification. Also look at the duration of your visa. It's only going to have a limited duration and you cannot extend to the K-1 visa. The K-1 visa is a one-time use visa. So once you have confirmed everything is correct on the visa, you can make your plans to enter the United States. Keep in mind that the K-1 visa, the reason behind it or the intent for it is to enter the United States to marry the US citizen petitioner, the person who filed the I-129F petition for you. So when you enter the United States on the K-1 visa, you have 90 days to get married. Sometimes people will call this visa the 90-day fiancé visa. And that's because it is intended for fiancés of US citizens. And you have 90 days once you enter the United States on the K-1 to get married. Once you are married in the United States, you'll file the application for the green card. And that's something that we help clients with all the time, in addition to the previous steps, the I-129F, and helping clients go through the process of applying for a K-1 visa. So you enter the United States and you get married within 90 days. That's critically important that you get married within 90 days. You may be thinking, okay, Emily, how do we do that? Because we don't know when we're going to be able to enter the United States or when the foreign national fiancé is going to be able to enter the United States. It's okay. When you get married, you can get married and you just have to be legally married. So you can have a civil ceremony. It can be done at the courthouse if your locality allows for that. It can be a backyard wedding. It can be a religious celebration or more traditional celebration where you invite lots of family and friends. Whatever type of ceremony you want to do is fine. It's also, as long as you're legally married, it's also okay to get legally married now so that you can file the green card process, take that next important step in the immigration process, and then have a bigger celebration later if you want to. You don't have to, but you absolutely have that option. So once you're married, you're going to want to submit the green card application as soon as you can with immigration, because you need to submit it before your I-94 expires. With your I-94 is the document that you receive. You actually have to pull it from online that says how long you're able to stay in the United States. But you want to file it before then, before your I-94 expires, because that by filing it, you will have permission to be in the United States. It's complicated. It's a legal term called period of stay authorized by the Attorney General, but you want to file before your I-94 expires. In addition, you want to file because when you file the green card application, you can also include an application for a work permit and a travel document. You cannot work in the United States and you cannot travel outside of the United States until you have these documents in hand. That is surprising for a lot of people, and it's one of the more frustrating aspects of the K-1 process, of the K-1 visa process. The advantage, I think, or an advantage of the K-1 visa process is the foreign national fiancé is able to enter the United States sooner than maybe if they pursued another option like the I-130 and consular processing, applying for the immigrant visa overseas. But a disadvantage is that once you're here, you have to wait for that employment authorization and travel document to be approved before you can work or travel in the United States. The processing time varies. I'm recording this in February of 2026. The processing time varies across time and across locations. In general, right now in our location, and I would say across the country right now, in general, the work permit is taking around 6 months to be approved. That's the employment authorization document. The travel document is taking longer to be approved. It could take more than a year. And a lot of times people are frustrated and disheartened to hear that they have to stay in the United States for that long. And I get it. It's frustrating. And I wish it weren't that way, but it is. If you leave the United States before you have that travel document with the I-485, the green card application and process, it will be deemed abandoned and denied. So it's really important that you wait to get that travel document or the green card before you travel. In addition, when you enter the United States on the K-1, keep in mind you're entering for the purpose of getting married to the US citizen fiance who filed for you. So hopefully this is not an issue for you, but you cannot marry a different person. Okay, you have to marry the person that filed the I-129F petition for you. In terms of the processing time for the green card application, it can take, again, it varies. Our experience is it takes on the longer end in terms of green card filings. So right now, I would say a year plus for this type of filing to be approved. It's entirely possible that you would have a joint interview with USCIS, meaning both spouses. We need to go to USCIS for an interview to have a conversation interview with an immigration officer there to make sure it's a true relationship. Sometimes those interviews are waived because the foreign national spouse did have an interview at the consulate before the K-1 visa was issued. But generally speaking, you can expect to have an interview. In addition, it may be that before that interview, several weeks after filing, the foreign national fiance or then spouse could be called in for fingerprinting with USCIS and that could be required in terms of processing the employment authorization document and the green card and the travel document. So towards the end, like I said, towards the end of this green card application process, you could have a joint interview. If you have the joint interview, typically the green card is approved usually within a month or so after that. Not always, sometimes it takes longer. If you don't have the interview, like I said, it's taking a year plus right now, and that's subject to change for better or for worse, but a year plus for the green card to be approved. Once you receive the green card, it will be approved likely for conditional residence. It will be approved for conditional residence if you as a couple have been married for less than 2 years at the time the green card is approved. That likely will be the case for this type of filing, for K-1 fiancé filings. Your I-485 filing would have to take a couple of years to be approved, which is not ideal and not typical for you to receive a 10-year green card. So you'll probably have the conditional residence, which we have talked about in an earlier episode, and we're going to talk about in more detail in our next video. So the K-1 fiancé visa process overall, as you know now, having watched these episodes, really is a 3-step process. You file the I-129F, you have the interview for the K-1 visa the foreign national does at the US consulate or embassy overseas, and then you use that visa to enter the United States and apply for the green card. Understanding the process, having realistic expectations of what's required in terms of documentation, in terms of processes, in terms of processing times can really reduce anxiety. And that's something that we really enjoy helping our clients walk them through the process, standing by their side, answering questions along the way to help reduce that stress and anxiety as much as we possibly can. So if you need help with a K-1 fiancé visa process or another type of family-based or employment-based immigration matter, please give us a call or send us an email or visit our website. Our website is sumnerimmigration.com, and you'll find there a link to be able to set a time for a consultation, and we would be happy to help you. We serve clients from around the world and around the United States. Again, my name is Emily Sumner with Sumner Immigration Law. If you have not subscribed to this channel, make sure that you do, and make sure to turn on the alerts so you don't miss our next videos. And I would love for you to like this, put your questions in the comments. I'll answer them if I can, and share this video with a family member or a friend who could use this information as well. Until next time, my name is Emily Sumner.